How you guys doing? Mark DeCabia here over at Tackle World, Penn Fleet Pro Team, and we're going to be going over the PENN International Series. PENN International Series has been around for a very, very long time. Like I said, durability is my number one concern, taking fishing with clients all over the Eastern Seaboard. The International Series, it comes in two colors. That's number one. I'm not a big aesthetic guy, but it's made in the gold, which has always been a standard, obviously, and they all come with a silver handle, and they make a silver reel as well. Obviously, everyone has their different type of fishery. Obviously, if you're going to catch small tunas, you're going to go sail fishing, you're going to go big blue marlin fishing. There's a size and a class for every individual angler out there. The three main reels that I use aboard my clients and my boats, first is the 20 International, which is a very, very good inshore all-purpose reel. The 20 VISX has a 50, the 50 series drag. It's very easy to use. Obviously, it's very mobile in your hand, which is number one. Balance and stability is my main concern when any angler is fighting a fish. The biggest fault that I see most of the time with people matching up their rods and reels is that the reel is either overpowering the rod, they're not comfortable in holding it, people generally wobble back and forth. It's not very comfortable and for them to use. So the three sizes reels that I like using, a 20, a 50, and a 70. That covers all three bases for what we're gonna go do. If you wanna go trolling in the offshore canyons and want to be able to handle anything standing up, which is the general feature that all my clients like to do, this is the workhorse of the PENN International Series. 70, you're able to grip it with your whole left hand, has an 80-pound drag system in it. We've caught everything from giant blue marlins to 700-800-pound giant bluefin tunas on them without any hiccups or real struggle at all. You don't need an 80, you don't need a 130 all the time. With the evolution of braid and pro spec, all this has far overcome the technology, and technology has far exceeded fishing in that matter. So we could use lighter reels, we could basically use lighter rods, and evolution of tackle has helped change all this. Like I said, the 20, the 50, and the 70, all you could hold in the palm of your hand, all have great balance. Every single one of these reels, my number one thing obviously is durability, but also the ease of use. Now, the ease of use, being able to hold the reel and balance it correctly and turning the power handle and having a narrow frame reel is very, very important. Most anglers, it's easy to use a narrow frame reel. They don't have to worry about leveling the line back and forth. They could all do it inside of their hand just by moving their finger back and forth. Very, very, very simple. All these internationals I use all have a two-speed system, okay? 99% of the time, we keep the reel in high gear, okay? That's very, very important when you're trying to keep tight on a fish, when you're clearing rods, when you're doing anything in and around the boat. Low gear should only be used when you're fighting, obviously, a very, very big fish. Your drag is kind of not maxed out for your rod, and you want to try to gain line and momentum all at once. By using a two-speed, you just simply press the button and the reel goes into low gear. Okay, becomes very, very easy to turn, very, very simple. You want to kick it back into high gear, you can press this button right on the side of the reel, engages the reel, back into high speed it goes. So we're talking about PENN Internationals today. This is the workhorse, been the workhorse for my basically entire career of offshore sport fishing. We'll talk a bit about setting your drags, okay? So number one thing, all right, lower the handle down away from the reel. You're gonna put the reel entirely into free spool, okay? Now on every international, there's free spool and then a notch just above free, okay? And that's where a little circle is. So we wanna make sure it's always in free spool, all right? And this is how we're gonna adjust the preset, which determines the amount of drag that comes off the reel. So the reel's in free spool. You could see the preset has a more or less button. By turning it to the right, you're gonna create more drag on the preset and slowly then engage the reel, okay? And then that's how you would determine how much drag comes off the reel. Now, a couple different things. When you get the reel spooled, you spool it yourself. You want to make sure when you're doing your drags that the line is coming off the top of the spool. Okay, meaning that if you have a half a spool of line, your drag's definitely going to increase in range. So you want to make sure always the drag spool capacity is full when you go to do your drags. And it's very, very important to have a professional shop spool your reels as well, or if you're going to do it, but you have to make sure there's a lot of tension because you don't want the line digging back into the spool. It's probably the biggest mistake that I see in offshore sport fishing of some people trying to do it themselves. Spooling your internationals, okay? This is a very important part of your offshore big game, obviously, experience. Technology has far exceeded fishing, and braid has come a long way from what it was first brought onto the fishing market. Most of the reels nowadays, we fill them between 1/2 and 3/4 full of solid braid or hollow core, then it's spliced directly or a loop-to-loop connection to a top shot. That enables you to carry the most amount of line on your reels at any given time. Pretty important. So now you could use a smaller reel with more line at a greater pound test to catch a larger fish. Now, when you could use a smaller reel, the biggest advantage, when you use a smaller reel, smaller rod, it's lighter, the ease of holding it, the balance, stability, all these factors. While you get into a 70, which is the larger size, you're going to need a fighting harness, belt, and be harnessed to be able to make your catch. Each PENN International has their lug nuts. The lugs are always on the front of the reel. If you're going to attach into the reel, the lug or the clamp always goes facing out. That way you don't have any disasters with it hitting the line. Maintenance is number one in no matter what you do. If you're taking care of your boat, you're taking care of your fishing tackle, you have this large investment of all these fishing reels. So you want to maintain your product to the best of its ability. The number one thing I see people, they constantly pour more soap on everything than they possibly need. All right, soap is any type of detergent, might hurt the line, might hurt your crimps, whatever thing is on the reel. So you want to basically use lots of fresh water. The more fresh water you can use and the rinsing, you'll be better off in the long term. You don't want the soap drying to the reel by any means. Rinse your reel with fresh water, maybe a light soap, maybe a light brush alongside of it, chamois the reel, wipe it all off clean, and the reel will be maintained for a long time. Obviously, in the winter time, especially here in the Northeast, take your reels off your rods, dismount them, clean all the grease off the back here. If you have to bring it in for service, bring into Tackle World here. They'll be able to get you serviced. But the winter time is that when you want to get all that taken care of. Do not take apart your reels in June, drop them off the shop, and expect them to turn around and get them right back to you.